Alright, welcome to the New Hampshire vlog. We are kicking it off bright and early. We woke up super early and left Vermont. If you watched the Vermont vlog, we had about 3 days there and then we were heading to New Hampshire. So we woke up around 5 a.m., left our last Airbnb in Vermont and drove all the way to New Hampshire so we could try to have breakfast at the Polly Pancake Parlor. It's a really iconic breakfast spot here in this region of New Hampshire near the Kancamagus highway. So we got here at 7:40 and there's a 40-minute wait, which is insane. We did hear it gets pretty busy in the fall season, and it's also a Friday morning, so we're just waiting in the car for our table to be ready. So I thought I'd kick off the vlog here because I really hope this wait is worth it. I've heard it is. But basically the plan for this vlog is we're just gonna explore this area of New Hampshire. We're planning to drive along the Kancamagus highway. We're gonna do a couple hikes. We're planning to camp too, so it should be a really nice couple days here, and we're excited to just continue soaking up the fall foliage in this area of New England. But we'll check in at camp and after breakfast too to see how this is.
Watching the stars and the city lights. Right from the start, said we never grow apart.
So we're on the Flume Gorge trail.
It's so cold.
It's very cold, but honestly, such ideal fall weather.
Oh, it's beautiful out here. I mean,
Yeah.
aside from being cold, the colors in New Hampshire are just as amazing as it is in Vermont.
I think even more so, honestly. At least this part of New Hampshire. So we're gonna see how far we get to the Flume.
Surrounded by colors, it's such a sight. Watching all the lovers fall into the night. All the moods in a heartbeat. We're going back where it all began. The same ground under our feet. Starts to shake with you all we can. Winter turned to spring. I remember everything from Wichita. This town is on its knees, you know, guidance overseas, I'm telling you. Oh, it's more to this than what you see. You know, this town's got the best of me. Are we sure it's the last time?
All the cameras.
Sure that this is the last time.
Yeah, that's ready.
Oh, we were down by the river all through the night, watching the stars and the city lights. And all the moods in the heartbeat. We're going back where it all began. The same ground under our feet. Starts to shake with you all we can. But we're caught in a landslide, so we stay up to the morning light.
We're just snacking on some PB&Js in the car. It was so awesome. It was about 2 miles round trip. You go and see the Flume Gorge, then there's like all these scenic overlooks after the gorge. So it was a lot more beautiful than we even expected. It was very crowded though, which got a little overwhelming in terms of getting some good filming of the gorge. It was a lot because people kept stopping and going, and so I'm not sure like how much footage I got of the actual gorge because I was also trying to take it in, but it was stunning, honestly, and I would definitely recommend making a reservation in advance. We booked ours online about a month ago for the 9 a.m. slot, which is the first opening, and you can get there like within the hour you book. So we had from 9 to 10 to show up to do our tour of it. But I'm so glad we did that because when we pulled in this morning, it said that the 9 a.m. spots were sold out. So it definitely does sell out quick, especially the morning slots. So definitely book in advance if you can. And it's also a little cheaper online if you book in advance. So that's also a huge plus. Very cool experience to kick off New Hampshire. Now we are going to go drive along the Kancamagus highway and see what we get into. There's a couple hikes I want us to do, but I'm not sure if we'll do that tomorrow because we do have all day tomorrow as well. But we're really loving New Hampshire so far. And the Polly Pancake Parlor was awesome. So definitely do that, and the Flume Gorge. One of the main things to do when visiting this area of New Hampshire is drive along the Kancamagus highway. It's a pretty famous highway in this area of New Hampshire because it connects the towns of Lincoln and Conway together. So we started in Lincoln, which is the closest town to the Flume Gorge and Franconia State Park. And we were planning to spend the afternoon just driving along the highway, but we decided to stop at camp first because we were staying at the Hancock campground, which is right off the highway, which made it super convenient in terms of like where we were staying. This area also runs through the White Mountain National Forests, which is why it's so incredibly beautiful, especially in the fall. Along the highway, there are so many spots to pull off and take in the views from the overlooks. There's a couple spots with covered bridges and walkways. We really took our time doing this. It's about a 34.5-mile stretch along this highway, but I would say you need at least a couple hours to fully explore. We were visiting on the weekend, so Friday afternoon was pretty crowded at all of the pull-offs, but we were able to usually find a spot after circling around and really took our time enjoying each of these overlook or trail areas. We really especially liked the Albany Covered Bridge, which is the last scenic spot towards the end of the highway, closer to Conway. Okay, we are back at our campground here in New Hampshire. We're staying at the Hancock campground along the Kancamagus highway, which is awesome. I hope you'll be able to hear me. It's really loud here at the campground right now. I'm not sure what's going on. But we had a really great first day here in New Hampshire. We are really blown away by the scenery here in New Hampshire. It's totally exceeding all of our expectations. It's even more vibrant than Vermont, which has been so fun to see. But basically after the Polly pancake parlor, we drove into New Hampshire more and we went to the Flume Gorge, which was incredible. Definitely a tourist type of attraction, but 100% worth the money and time in our opinion. After the Flume Gorge, we headed into the Kancamagus highway area, which it stretches from Lincoln, New Hampshire to Conway, New Hampshire. Made a pit stop, set up camp, and then continued on to drive a little bit of the highway. We stopped at a few of the pull-off areas, which were stunning. It's such a fun time just driving along, pulling off when we felt inclined to. We didn't get to stop off at all of the pull-offs that we wanted to, just because it was really crowded today. But we're planning to do some more of that tomorrow because we do have all day tomorrow, which is great. But we're just both really exhausted. We're planning to just chill at camp for the rest of the evening. We're gonna get a fire going and just have a relaxing dinner here and head to bed early probably. We're really excited to also just have a slow morning tomorrow because this whole trip has really been go, 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 which has been fun, but also exhausting. So we're excited to just take it a little slow in the morning. And then basically tomorrow we're just planning to explore the highway more and hopefully do a couple hikes. We really want to hike Bluff, but we've heard it's really popular and crowded, and unfortunately it's the weekend right now. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but I'm sure we'll make the most of the rest of our time here in New Hampshire. It's kind of a quick little stop on the road trip. Our last day is tomorrow and we pack up and leave Sunday, so hoping to just cherish the rest of the time we have here. But that's basically the plan for tonight. I will definitely check back in the morning.
Fire's not right. That's better.
It's like looking at the sun.
You are one that will survive when time's been bad. You put smiles on everyone. I think of you and of all I should have done.
Good morning. It is Saturday morning and it is our second and last day in New Hampshire. It is super, super windy, as you can probably hear. We slept really well last night despite the wind, and we had a really nice and relaxing breakfast here at camp. And now we're just packing up the car and getting ready to go explore for our second day. So like I mentioned last night, I think we're going to try to do a hike. We're hoping to do Bluff, but if it's too crazy, we might pass on that. But otherwise, we're just going to keep driving the Kancamagus highway and see where else the day takes us. This area of New Hampshire is so interesting because we were actually staying in the White Mountains National Forest along the Kancamagus highway. However, the Bluff Trail is actually in the Franconia State Park, so they're both very close to each other and you only have to drive a little bit out of your way. Like I think it was 15 minutes. But it's incredible that you have a state park and a national forest all within this area, which just really highlights this area of New Hampshire. So we made our way into the Franconia State Park, and we were met with giant crowds as we entered the Bluff parking area. And that should have been our first clue that this was probably not a great idea. We told ourselves if we were able to find a parking spot, then that was a sign we should just give this hike a try. We did find a parking spot right near the trailhead, so we decided let's just do it. We probably got, probably like a mile in, and this hike is pretty short, but it is steep once you get to the area where you're about to be on the top. So we got all the way to that point, and I'll just let the videos speak for themselves. It was chaotic, it was dangerous, it was uncomfortable. I'm usually not a claustrophobic person, but this was extremely uncomfortable for both Pat and I. So we made the executive decision to just turn around. There were people trying to come down from the hike, yelling that they had no space to get down. It was a bit of a bummer. We weren't able to experience this hike. It was something we really wanted to, but we just didn't think it was worth going all the way up there, being uncomfortable, and not even being able to enjoy the scenery or the view, and just feeling so overwhelmed and uncomfortable. And I'm very happy with that decision. My biggest piece of advice would be to try this hike on a weekday. That should have been our first clue that it was going to be crowded, but just with the way this trip lined up, we had no choice but to do it on the weekend. Okay, it is a lot later. I'm not really sure where I left off. Today has been very eventful. We had kind of a disappointing second day here in New Hampshire, unfortunately. We don't love to complain, but it was kind of one of those travel days that just got to us. I think mostly because it's a Saturday, it's the fall season, so we knew it was going to be crowded, but we didn't expect it to be as crowded as it ended up being. So as you saw, we didn't get to finish Artist's Bluff because it was just chaotic. We ended up turning around, which I'm very happy we did that because we were both very overwhelmed. It was honestly getting dangerous. There was way too many people. And then after that, we decided to go back to the Flume Gorge area so we could use the restrooms and try to make some lunch. But then after, we were planning to go explore the Kancamagus highway again since we had downtime. And it took us about an hour and a half to get back to our campsite from the Flume Gorge. And there was a line of traffic going onto the highway. So we just decided to come back to camp, relax for the rest of the afternoon, build a fire, and organize the car a little bit so we could head off to Maine tomorrow morning. So I'm happy with that decision. It's almost like the universe's way of trying to give us extra time to rest today. We got to sleep in, we got a lot of downtime today. But yeah, I would be lying if I didn't say that we were still a little bit disappointed that we didn't really get to experience some of the things we wanted to in New Hampshire, but I am very thankful that we had all day yesterday because I feel like we had a really great day yesterday as well. But that's really going to do it for this New Hampshire vlog. I know it was short and sweet. I wish I could show more, but hopefully we'll be back soon someday. Do you have any things to add, Pat?
If I can make any recommendations to anybody who would like to come out to New Hampshire in the fall, don't come on a weekend. And if you do,
just be prepared for lots of waits. Be prepared
for lots of waits. If you want to see a certain site or do a certain activity, make sure that is going to be your first priority depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Get there early.
Yeah.
Especially if you're coming here on the weekends, get there early. Don't make the mistake that we did. I mean, it really wasn't a mistake, honestly.
It was just kind of how the trip planned out. Yeah. It ended up being on a weekend we were here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were like saying we've been to so many national parks and we've never seen crowds like this. No. Ever. And I'm sure it's because it's the weekend. I think that's a large part of why it's so crazy today.
It's the weekend and it's fall and everybody wants to be in New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine in the fall. And I don't blame them. I really don't blame anybody who wants to come out here during this time. It is beautiful. Just
some tips. I also forgot to mention my Vermont blog, but I will be writing blog posts for all these stops we go to. So if you prefer a more written guide, you can check out my website. I'll have it in the bio below. But that's going to do it for New Hampshire. We're just going to have a chill night at camp. We're going to make some tomato soup and grilled cheeses because that sounds wonderful. And get ready for Maine. I'm really excited for Maine.
Oh, I can't wait.
Our third stop on this road trip. So, yeah. Stay tuned for more Maine vlogs. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in Maine. Bye.
Take care.
Hard to see from the moment we arrived. Cornelia, you are one who will survive. When come back. You put smiles on everyone. I think of you and of all I should have done.